Welcome to the Galung Swa space. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit the bell so you'll be the first to watch our next video.
Hooked on the fall, when staying stable starts creating drama. Have you ever noticed this? Life somehow gets heavier right after everything finally works out. Career up, money good, image solid. From the outside, you look completely put together, but inside your head, still tense, still tight. That's what I call hooked on the fall, not drama, not self-pity. It's that weird phase where maintaining your life feels harder than building it from scratch. When you were broke, lost, grinding, it was simple. You just had to level up. Now, you have to maintain. And maintaining is exhausting because now you're not chasing a dream, you're protecting your position. Tiny mistakes feel massive. Random spending feels dangerous. One small wrong move and suddenly you're questioning your entire existence. Do I even deserve to be here? The quiet reality at the top. When you're in maintenance mode, even small slip-ups feel dramatic. Spending on something small hits you with guilt. One-off decision, and boom. Imposter syndrome shows up uninvited. Maybe I'm not actually built for this level. Even when everything's calm, your brain refuses to relax. Stability feels temporary, like something's about to go wrong. And here's the part nobody says out loud. Sometimes, when it all falls apart, there's relief. Falling feels like exhaling, like finally not having to be impressive anymore. When you're that mentally drained, hooked on the fall, stops being theory. It becomes pattern, a low-key urge to sabotage things just so the pressure disappears with it. Anti-hero and main character pressure. Why we're low-key, more comfortable with mess. Look at pop culture. Nobody worships perfect characters anymore. We love the flawed ones, the chaotic ones, not because they're right, but because they're real. Messy characters feel alive. They're not trying to maintain a flawless brand. They get to break. They get to feel. But when you succeed, you accidentally turn into the main character. You have to stay sharp, stay disciplined, stay stable. The pressure, quiet, but constant. And sometimes falling feels like dropping the act. No expectations, no image, just you. Rock-bottom spirituality that we romanticize too much. For years, we've been fed this idea that breakdown equals breakthrough, that hitting rock bottom is spiritual growth, that chaos means transformation. And yeah, that story is powerful. But it gets weird when your brain starts believing meaning only exists in crisis. So when life is calm, it feels flat, not deep enough, not intense enough. And suddenly falling isn't tragedy anymore. It's stimulation. Not because you want destruction, but because drama makes you feel like you're evolving. Modern masochism and the fear of losing. Psychology calls it moral masochism, the tendency to seek pain, to validate yourself. In real life, it looks like self-sabotage. You succeed and somehow still feel insecure. Your standards rise, but your identity tightens. Add loss aversion to the mix. The fear of losing hits harder than the joy of winning. What does that mean? The higher you go, the more you're haunted by the thought of falling. So yeah, staying stable can feel like sitting on a ticking bomb. And sometimes falling first feels easier than waiting for the drop. If you grew up in survival mode, peace feels suspicious. And to a primitive brain, unfamiliar equals danger. Hooked on, the fall doesn't care about gender. This hits everyone. For a lot of women in their mid to late 20s, the pressure is internal. I have to handle everything. I can't mess this up. For a lot of men, it's performance. I can't stall. I have to keep leveling up. Different packaging, same route. Both fighting to maintain stability without cracks. And when cracks show up, the shame can hurt more than the actual loss. Learning to stay calm at the top. Maybe your issue isn't climbing. Maybe it's staying. Staying without guilt, staying without self-made chaos, staying without feeling like you have to prove yourself daily. Healthy growth is steady, slow, consistent. If you feel restless in peace, it doesn't mean you're weak. It means your nervous system doesn't know how to relax yet. And calm doesn't come with the same adrenaline as struggle. But you deserve stability. You deserve success without self-destruction. Because maturity isn't about how high you climb. It's about how steady you can stand without needing chaos to feel alive. How to break free from hooked on the fall. The real question isn't, why am I like this? It's, how do I stop wrecking my own peace? First, understand this. Stability isn't the enemy. Your nervous system just isn't used to calm. If you grew up in chaos, peace feels unfamiliar. And your brain doesn't trust unfamiliar things. So instead of creating drama, train yourself to sit in calm. Start small. Let a normal day be enough. A day without crisis doesn't mean you're stagnant. It means you're safe. Second, ease up on the extreme internal standards. Not your ambition. Just the belief that one mistake equals total collapse. You can mess up without losing your worth. Third, separate who you are from what you achieve. You are not your title, not your income, not your curated image. If your identity is glued to performance, every crack feels fatal. Fourth, regulate your body. Move, breathe, sleep. Talk to real people. This isn't soft advice. Biologically, a calm body helps your brain stop scanning for threats. And finally, redefine growth. Growth isn't always expansion. Sometimes it's just staying steady without self-sabotage. Sometimes the real flex is stability. And stability isn't boring, it's mature. Hooked on the fall ends when you stop treating peace like a threat and start seeing it as your next level. Reflection. If you're in this phase, tired of holding everything together, tense even though life looks fine, maybe you don't need to climb higher. Maybe you just need to learn how to stay without panicking. If this hit you, send it to someone who looks strong, but might be exhausted inside. And tell me in the comments, are you in your climbing era or your maintaining era? Because sometimes the people who need validation the most aren't the ones who failed, but the ones who've been winning for too long without rest. Subscribe if you want real conversations about the quiet side of success. Because not all growth needs chaos, and not all stability has to cost your peace.